Patricia de Lille are briefing the media on the details of the National Infrastructure Plan 2050 and next steps towards implementation. Minister de Lille is speaking. Let's listen in.
Towns in provinces to integrate our country. So the need for infrastructure to generate employment, but also to transform the built environment. So broad-based black economic empowerment is key in our plan to create those opportunities. And then with the municipalities, we will arrange a performance-based support for municipalities in maintenance and also the billing system. We know that there's a great need for maintenance and repairs, especially in our municipalities, and part of the plan will also deal with maintenance. So specific areas have been strengthened in response to departmental and other stakeholder inputs. And as I said, they have been incorporated into a NIP 2050. Let me just briefly deal with the strategic focus of the National Infrastructure Plan 2015. The plan is there to develop a coherent plan towards development for our country infrastructure networks. And for these networks to achieve sustainability over the medium term, long term, and what we need to do immediately. And like I said, it is aligned to the National Development Plan. It's also aligned to the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Council, which is chaired by the President and meets on a quarterly basis. And then it's also aligned, like I said, to the National Spatial Development Framework. So the timing is great for this plan, as we at the same time also now finalize the spatial development framework. So the strategic intervention that we want to make will address the overall government's objective of improving and investing in core network infrastructure such as water, energy, freight transport, digital communication infrastructure. So we will also, like I say, we begin to prioritize the infrastructure within the plan. So one of the top priorities of the NIP 2050 is to ensure the foundations are in place to achieve transformation, to achieve inclusive growth and infrastructure and investment, to deal with spatial integration, and also the expansion of urban economies and rural development. So the NIP 2050 really offers us a strategic vision of where we want to go. Another purpose of NIP 50 is to promote a dynamism in infrastructure delivery, address the institutional blockages and weaknesses that hinder success over the longer term, and also guide us to build more vital institutions. Like we have started now with the building of establishment of Infrastructure South Africa, but already Infrastructure South Africa is establishing another institution and a special purpose vehicle that will specifically look at social infrastructure. Social infrastructure, we mean our schools. We need to eradicate mud schools. We need to deal with ablution facilities. So already we are beginning to put those institutions in place. So the infrastructure delivery model in South Africa also depends a lot on state-owned entities. But still in South Africa, we are not benefiting from this model of using our own state-owned entities because the institutional framework does not support performance and adaptation. So in all the sectors that I've mentioned, this adaptation and continuous response and improvement are critical to the success of the implementation of this plan. The NIP 2050 also focus on the foundational network infrastructure in energy, in freight transport, in water and digital communications. So this is the first phase of the plan. The second phase of the plan will focus on distributed infrastructure, commuter transport, and municipal services to be finalized, and this second phase will be finalized within the 22-23 financial year. I will now hand over to Dr. Ramokgopa to deal with some of the detailed plans of what we have implemented already and how we are going to, under the leadership of Dr. Kgosientsho and ISA, that will be driving the implementation, because that has been our weakness, has come to implementation. And now finally we are beginning to get implementation going, of course, with the partnership of the private sector. Over to you, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, and let me take the opportunity to greet everyone present here in your eminence, but also just to pay tribute to the Minister for having provided leadership and stewardship in ensuring that the NIP culminates into a cabinet decision, and therefore it becomes a program for execution by the entire country. So I want to thank the Minister for that. Just to re-emphasize the point that the Minister has indicated is that the National Infrastructure Plan takes what I refer to as twin tracks that are sequential. So what we are presenting before you today really has to do with what the Minister referred to as foundational network sector. So that's energy, water, transport, and ICT infrastructure. So what is the significance of these four foundational network sectors? Is that one, they ensure that there's universal access, and by definition they improve the quality of life of our people in keeping with the provision, constitutional injunctions, and also the aspirational targets of the NDP. And secondly is that they introduce efficiency in the economy, they're able to enhance the competitiveness of the country, making sure that raw goods are able to get to markets, or where they could be beneficiation and creation of jobs, but also expand, if you like, the tentacles of our economy beyond the domestic market. And then the fourth one is that the third one is that it's able to ensure that we were able to achieve what we call spatial justice. Like the Minister has indicated, is that the spatial configuration of the country is that the poor are excluded in many ways. So also in physical terms, they are far away from employment opportunities. They spend on average 40% of their incomes just on transportation. They spend about 40% of their time just commuting between work and places of opportunity. So we want to address the spatial configurations, and of course they're also going to have other spillover effects in that we are going to reduce the carbon emissions, if you like, reliance on fossil fuels. So that's the significance of the four. So that's what we are presenting before you. And then the next phase that has already started really is what the Minister refers to as distributed infrastructure. So essentially it's what we can refer to as the last mile. So the first part of the NIP we are dealing, let's take water, on the water resources side. So if you like, the water balance that they say, we're a water scarce country, how we're able to harness and exploit some of the resources that are there. So we have sufficient capacity, but it doesn't talk to how you get it to the house. So you must still install infrastructure, if you like, pipe water networks to ensure that the water reaches the house. So that's the next phase of this national infrastructure plan. So what are we saying?
Head of